Ninja Scroll, Battletech, can't do that on television. Transformers, Saints Row is Grand Theft Auto. Listen, you can hit a toasty when I finish you on Mortal Kombat. I can speak another language with nerd Anglish.
When there's some shit to be won, goddammit, I want it. I don't give a fuck what it is. You know what I'm talking about? I take no prisoners. I go hard doing this shit. Big dog, big nuts. When names is on the motherfucking board, I want to see my name at the top of that motherfucking. Next to it needs to say, winner.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Divided We Game, a new podcast here on the Great Divide Podcast Network. This is number 3 in this series. So we got the Great Divide, which is me, and then we got a House Divided, which is the Game of Thrones podcast, and now we have a new gaming podcast, and I am absolutely thrilled. I'm so glad you joined me today. This ain't going to be long. This is just going to be an introduction to what this podcast is and is supposed to be. Everybody knows from me talking on The Great Divide about my different experiences gaming that I am a gamer. I love gaming. I love everything about it. I'm one of these people that feel like I can speak for everybody when I say the reason why gaming is so popular and why so many people do it is because we're poor. The reason why we game so much is because everybody wants to have new and fresh experiences. And I feel like if everybody in America had some money, or at least was comfortable enough financially to be able to afford to travel, there wouldn't be so many people gaming. People who are rich get to travel. They get to go places and see shit we ain't ever gonna get to see. They get to go to England and see Stonehenge, and they get to go to the Netherlands and see those houses that got grass on top of the roofs for insulation instead of actually having insulation. They get to go see this stuff firsthand. We don't. We're stuck wherever we are in our 9-to-5 jobs, and when we get vacation time, we can't afford to actually leave where we are. But that doesn't stop us from still wanting to have those new, fresh, exciting experiences. You got to remember, we came from Neanderthals. Neanderthals were hunters and gatherers, and for that reason, when we have adventure in our DNA. We want to see new shit and do new shit, and gaming is a way that we can. When you first open up Skyrim, when you first open up Fallout, whatever you're about to play, you're going to see shit you've never seen before. You're going to explore places you've never been. And I thought about it for a while, and I love podcasting, and I love gaming. The reason why I don't podcast more is because it gets to be a lot. When you have to host a podcast, produce it, edit it, direct it, put it together in podcast form, put together the show, and all that shit is very, very tiring, especially when it's one person doing everything. So what I have done with this project is I've added people, so I no longer have to do it by myself. Not to mention, I'm sure y'all are tired of listening to me all the time. Now you'll have a bunch of different voices who are going to share their stories and give you their experiences, and of course we're going to be doing reviews, but that's not the crux of this project. When trying to figure out, and this took me a long time to figure this out, but when trying to come up with something fresh and unique for the gaming community, I was thinking about ways we could do a podcast that were new. Everybody got a podcast where they talk about reviews and different mechanics of the game and all that type of shit, and different graphics cards and the 1080 Ti and all that type of shit. And that's cool, and we'll be doing some of that as well. But the perspective we're coming at gaming from for this project is how you tie it to everyday life. There are games that we play where will teach us something about the real world that we live in. Or there's something that educates us in a manner that we wouldn't have had if we hadn't have played this particular game. And a lot of times it doesn't even have to be a particular game. It could just be gaming in general. And like I said, people are going to be sharing their experiences and their stories and everything, and I'm going to give you one right now. And it was a profound revelation, and I wanted to share it with people, but it's not the type of thing that you talk about on a normal gaming podcast. So I'm going to tell you now. The reason why my voice sounds so funny right now is because before I went on the air, I was eating some, what are them things called? What are they called? Some Ritz cracker. Oops, I don't mean to say cracker. White people Because racism and everything, y'all don't want y'all to get scared and shit. Y'all know me, okay? This is not that kind of show. But from The Great Divide, you know that I do a lot of talking about social justice and issues that pertain to race. And so I was thinking about this. And you know, over the past several years, more and more, as people have gathered to social media, and we have these new smart devices, these iPhones and these Androids and stuff, that people record everything now. So even though oppression against minority communities have been happening this entire time, there's never been a time in our country where it hasn't been happening. We are seeing it more and more because people have these devices where they can record the shit that happens on the street. And I was thinking about it, and you know, I can name at least 40 people, 40 unarmed black people right now who did not deserve to die, who died at the hands of police, and they were not armed. And one of the arguments you will hear people say a lot is that there are good cops out there and there are bad cops out there. But my thing is, why are the good cops not stopping the bad cops from this aberrant behavior? What they tend to do is they will shield the cops and in what is called the thin blue line, instead of actually making their bad cops face justice. So I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about it in terms of gaming. And this is what I've come up with. And this can also be applied to politics as well. Here it goes. And this is just a theory. It don't mean shit outside of this podcast. When policemen decide to go to the academy, and when politicians decide that they're going to go into politics, I honestly, 100% in my heart believe that they want to do good, and that they want to challenge the system, and that they see people hurting and they want to be a part of the system, a part of the system that helps and not hurts people. I honestly believe that. I believe people go into these jobs thinking they're going to be the one to change everything. And that's good. And I love that. And there are some who are still actually actively trying to. But when you put on your PS4 or your Xbox and you put in BioShock or Fallout or whatever game you're playing, LA Noire, which was excellent, by the way, you put on an identity. In these games, you become a different person. You will do shit you would never do in the real world when you're playing these games. When I play GTA 5, nigga, let me tell you, I will drive on the motherfucking sidewalk. I will run niggas over. I don't give a fuck in GTA 5. But when is the last time you turned on the news and saw my black ass driving up and down the street on the sidewalks and hitting people and shit like that? It's because when we're gaming, we put on a different person. We put on a mask and do shit we normally wouldn't do in the real world. That is what happens to the policemen when they put that uniform on. When they ain't got that uniform on, they in the real world just like the rest of us. When they put that uniform on, it's like the same. It's the same thing as when we start gaming. When we start shooting up niggas and shit in these video games. And the two should be separated, because what happens is, and see, here's the thing, the same thing can be said for politicians. When they get into politics, when they first start, I believe that they genuinely want to help people. But then, as they move forward in their career, and they're exposed to the corruption, and see all them dollar signs and shit, they themselves become corrupt, and it's no longer about the people they're supposed to represent. It's about how much of my pockets can I fill up with this money these motherfuckers are giving me to act in a corrupt manner. I believe that. So what I'm telling you is the thing that I've learned from gaming is that something needs to happen within police culture so that the people that we know when they're in their regular clothes, that's also how they behave when they got them police clothes on. When they got that police uniform on, those should not be two different worlds. There's a reason why in the UK they call it a police service. and in America it's called the police force. Think about that. In any case, I'm so excited to be bringing you this show, and the show will be dropping on the 10th of every month. Starting in September will be the first show. So it's going to be a monthly show, but there will be smaller segments in between each month. So like I said, I'm very excited. We've got a lot of great people coming, and we're all representing the Willamette Valley. That's another part of the project that excites me, because that means, since we don't have people contributing from all over the U.S., that if ever we need to get together in the same place for whatever experience, mostly gaming experiences, we're all local to the Willamette Valley. Most of us live in Lane County. 1 or 2 of us live in Lane County. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And don't forget, you can find the podcast at iTunes, Feedburner, and I believe we're also going to be using Podomatic with this particular podcast. So you can check us out over there. If you want to leave feedback for the show, feedback at thegreatdivide.us. And until next time, this has been Effington Major. See you next mission.